Episode 4. The Mulled Wine That Tried to Escape. Snow blanketed the valley, and the tavern glowed warm against the cold night. Evergreen boughs hung in the rafters, halflings strung up jingling bells, and dwarves insisted on testing the structural integrity of every decoration with their tankards. Heinrick stood behind the bar in festive robe patterned with tiny snowflakes, stirring a steaming cauldron. "Friends," he declared proudly, "tonight we unveil my latest creation, magical mulled wine, enhanced with herbs, enchanted spices, and mostly a dash of holiday cheer." Kutath leaned over the pot, sniffed, and frowned. "Smells like socks again." "Mystery," Heinrich corrected him, and tossed a sprig of glowing holly he'd found in the woods. The cauldron burped, hissed, and released a plume of sparkling red mist that shaped itself into a reindeer, pranced across the rafters, and exploded in a show of glitter. The tavern erupted into applause. "See," Heinrich said smugly, "perfectly under control." Unfortunately, the wine disagreed. The liquid began bubbling faster, sloshing like a stormy sea. Then with a tremendous whoosh, the entire cauldron lifted 2 inches off the table, wobbling angrily. Kutath muttered, gripping his ladle like a weapon. "Wine moving." The mulled wine surged upward like a geyser, spilled across the floor in a crimson tide. It sloshed into mugs, onto tables, even into boots. And wherever it splashed, the liquid started singing. That's right, singing. Patrons found their spilled drinks belting out carols in tiny soprano voices. A puddle on the hearth crooned, "Deck the halls with boughs of folly." Meanwhile, the mug in front of the dwarf bellowed bass notes deep enough to rattle the windows. Chaos spread. The halflings tried to harmonize with their drinks. The gnomes attempted to capture the phenomenon for science. And Kutath just shouted, "Sing louder, wine!" while clapping along. Meanwhile, Heinrich scrambled with his spellbook, muttering frantic countercharms. Contain, stabilize, silence, oh blast! Each attempt only made things worse, until the entire tavern was a cacophony of drunken choirs. Finally, in desperation, Heinrich threw in the only thing he knew could overpower enchanted spirits, an entire sack of cinnamon. The cauldron gave one final gurgle, then went still. The wine stopped singing. The tavern fell silent. Then, slowly, cautiously, Kutath dipped a mug and took a sip. He smacked his lips. "Best drink ever!" Cheers erupted. The disaster had turned into triumph again. The singing wine became the new holiday tradition, with patrons swearing they could still hear faint humming from their mugs if they listened closely enough. Heinrich raised his glass, his beard still dusted with cinnamon, to Accidental Wonders and a tavern that never stops singing. The crowd roared back, "To wonder!"